What's your favorite Beatles song?
Whoa, that's a loaded question. Early Beatles, mid Beatles, or late Beatles? Or solo Beatles?
Of all time, your favorite of all time. Don't tell me you haven't thought about it.
If you put a gun to my head, I'd probably give the intellectual answer, Strawberry Fields Forever.
Okay, a respectable choice.
But the one I actually listen to the most, the one that's always on my playlist, it's probably Here Comes the Sun.
And that choice, Here Comes the Sun, is the perfect place for us to start.
It really is.
We've been looking at how the streaming age has, well, completely rewritten the history of the Beatles' greatest hits.
Totally rewritten it.
For decades, that list was curated by record executives, right?
Yeah.
But now people are they're voting with their ears. And the gap between what was marketed and what people actually love is just monumental.
It's a chasm.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Well, you have to start by understanding the world they lived in, the 20th century scarcity era.
Scarcity.
Think about 1965. If you wanted to release a single, it was a heavy lift industrial operation.
It wasn't just pressing a button on a computer.
Not at all. It was a huge investment. You had to physically manufacture thousands, tens of thousands of vinyl 45s.
And then ship them everywhere.
Exactly. Then distribute them, then run a massive PR campaign just to get DJs to even consider playing it. The record label was the absolute gatekeeper. They decided what you were allowed to hear.
They were basically asset managers. They had to see a return on every single song.
Yeah.
It was either an A-side, a moneymaker, or it was just album filler buried on side 2.
Precisely. And what's so critical to remember is how that was shaped by the fans back then.
Right.
Especially in the UK, you'd feel ripped off if you bought a single, and then a few months later, that same song was on the album you just bought.
You paid for it twice.
To avoid being seen as, cheats, the band kept some of their absolute best songs off the albums.
Powerhouses like Hey Jude or Strawberry Fields.
Yes. They were never on the original studio LPs. And that whole strategy, it only makes sense if physical records are scarce and expensive.
But now,
yeah,
that's all gone.
It's meaningless. Today, on a streaming platform, every single track on Revolver has the exact same digital real estate as Let It Be.
Listeners couldn't care less about 45 RPM status.
They just care what sounds good today.
Yeah.
And what they love now is often not what the labels pushed back then.
Which brings us to this new Hey list, what we're calling the organic top 10. These are songs that became hits just because people are obsessed with them.
No label promotion needed. These were the so-called deep cuts.
And what's his number 1?
It's the song we started with. Here Comes the Sun from Abbey Road. It has over 1.75 billion streams.
1.75 billion. That number is just staggering.
It eclipses everything from the 60s. The appeal is just so obvious, isn't it? It's that relentless optimism, that acoustic warmth. It's the ultimate mood track for your morning playlist.
And yet, in 1969, it was a massive marketing blunder not to release it as a single.
Oh, a huge one. But you see the logic. George was still seen as the, quote, junior partner. He literally wrote that song in Eric Clapton's garden just to hide from all the business meetings and infighting at Apple.
So the label just didn't see it as a commercial A-side?
And now, it's more popular than Yesterday, more popular than Let It Be, any of the official Lennon-McCartney hits. It's George's ultimate vindication.
Okay, what's number 2 on the organic list?
Number 2 is Blackbird from the White Album. Over 640 million streams.
Which makes perfect sense for today. It's simple, it's intimate, it fits that modern lo-fi acoustic vibe.
It does. In 1968, though, a solo acoustic track like that was just seen as an album fragment, something nice but not a radio hit.
But today its brevity is its strength. It's so repeatable.
You can drop it into any chill playlist and it just works.
Number 3 is In My Life from Rubber Soul.
Yeah.
Over 580 million streams. This one is. This is the quintessential nostalgia song. You hear it at every wedding, every milestone.
And this is another case of the label just misjudging what would last. In 1965, they needed a big hit for the Christmas market.
So they pushed Day Tripper.
They pushed the upbeat commercial rock song. In My Life was seen as this prestige album track. Not a product, but it was one of John's first really personal, introspective songs, and it just resonated so much deeper.
Then we have another George track, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, at over 350 million.
This one bridges the gap, right? You have the pop fans and the serious guitar geeks, all because of that legendary Eric Clapton solo.
So why wasn't it a single?
Too long, simple as that. It's almost 5 minutes. In 1968, radio wanted 2-minute pop songs, little snackable hits. A 5-minute epic was a non-starter.
An issue that just doesn't exist anymore. And then number 5 is a real curiosity. Obladi, oblade.
Yeah, over 340 million streams. It's a total earworm. It dominates kids' playlists, party mixes.
But the band famously had a hard time with it.
Oh, a terrible time. Paul drove them mad with endless takes. John hated it. He called it granny music and apparently stormed out of the studio.
So internal politics kept it from being the global #1 it probably should have been.
Almost certainly.
And what about some of the other big album cuts? A Day in the Life from Sgt. Pepper. The Critics' Choice.
That's sitting around 190 million streams. Again, you couldn't play that on the radio in 1967. It was just too weird.
That massive orchestral swell, the 40-second piano chord at the end.
It was an album closer, not a single. Then you have Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, the face of psychedelia.
And the BBC basically banned that one because of the LSD rumor.
Exactly. So the label just buried it on the LP. They knew a single would be dead on arrival, which was one of John's biggest beefs, that a moral panic kept one of his most imaginative songs off the radio.
The most glaring takeaway from all this, for me, is the George Harrison vindication.
Absolutely. The whole narrative for decades was the Lennon-McCartney powerhouse. George was the quiet junior partner.
But now, here comes The Sun, a song the label totally ignored, is the biggest Beatles song of all time.
It proves that when you remove the record company's bias, when you take away that focus on what's loud and short for the radio,
the public finds the songs that feel personal and timeless.
the deep cut isn't deep anymore. The audience has become its own A&R department, and they're showing that the songs once hidden on a vinyl record are the real leaders of the band's legacy.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting.
Right.
While the digital era has crowned these new kings, we also have to look at what it's unseating. Which of the old hits are losing ground?
And the numbers here are pretty brutal for the early days of Beatlemania.
How so?
The very foundation of their career, those early hits, now some of the most skipped songs in the catalog.
Give me an example.
From Me to You. In 1963, that was their first undisputed UK #1, a huge cultural moment.
A landmark.
Today, it has plummeted. It's way down at the bottom of the top 60 most streamed tracks.
So why are people skipping that early stuff?
The logic seems to be that modern listeners find that mop-top era a bit too straight ahead, maybe repetitive. If it comes up on shuffle, they just skip forward to the more mood-based, complex, later material.
And then there's what you call the granny music filter, the stuff Paul loved.
Exactly. Take Yellow Submarine. It was a massive single, but the data shows adult listeners just find it too, nursery rhymish. They skip it.
And what about Oblada? Oblada. You said it has high streams, but
it has one of the highest active skip rates for anyone over 25. So kids' playlists are driving the numbers up, but the core adult audience is bailing out fast.
So even a giant like Hey Jude is affected by this.
The length factor is huge. Hey Jude is still incredibly popular, of course.
Yeah.
But it has a really high skip rate during that na-na-na outro. People are so used to short-form content now, they get the main emotional hit of the song, and then they're out. Around the 4-minute mark, they just move on.
Wow. But the craziest thing is the Revolution 9 paradox.
This is just astonishing. John's avant-garde sound collage. It has a pretty low stream count, maybe 10 to 19 million.
And a massive skip rate.
Massive. Almost 80% of people are gone within 30 seconds. Nobody's listening to it casually.
So what's the paradox?
Despite being skipped constantly, enough people actively seek it out of curiosity that it performs better than nearly half of the band's entire 1963 and 1964 output.
You're kidding.
It means people are more interested in seeking out the weird historical oddity than they are in listening to some of those early official hits. Curiosity is a stronger pull than simple nostalgia.
So what does this all mean?
It means longevity isn't about sales in 1964. It's about how wet a track fits into a 2026 mood, a playlist.
The early hits were for the radio sprint.
Exactly, engineered to top a chart for 2 weeks. But the deep cuts, they were built for the long-distance marathon of the human heart. They have the real staying power.
The final provocative thought, then, is that the audience has finally taken over. They've proven that the songs once hidden away are now the true leaders of the Beatles' legacy.
That's it. The listeners are the new curators, and they have excellent taste.
Well, thanks for joining us today. Whenever you feel like knowing more about the Beatles, visit us at BeatlesRewind.com. Every day, we do something new there. Song reviews, album reviews, movie reviews, book reviews, documentaries, trivia, all things Beatles. Every day, 8 days a week. You can find us on the website, BeatlesRewind.com. You can subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Amazon Podcasts, practically anywhere on the inner tubes. The Beatles, all day, every day. Cass, we'll do it again tomorrow.
Right? Absolutely. Wouldn't miss it
Until next time,
when you listen.
your mind conducts its own symphony.